welcome to Toe the Line. I'm your host, Courtney Clemens, and thank you for joining us today. Well, now that Juneteenth is recognized as a federal holiday, let the celebrations begin for another milestone step in American history. Wait, but not so fast. With Black Americans calling for Juneteenth to be recognized federally and nationally with an increased movement of support over the last few years, you'd think the barbecue is set for the weekend. I sure had my ribs ready. Unfortunately, from the moment Crazy Joe signed the bill to recognize Juneteenth as a federal holiday, Black people lost their shit. Black Twitter just attacked the whole federal government and white America as a whole. From claiming Juneteenth isn't theirs, white Americans, to celebrate or get the day off work for. Even some Black people who say this is just a plan for corporate America to capitalize and commercialize on yet another Black-inspired celebration. We can't have shit to ourselves. We stand, we shout, we march, we fight, and we even die to get America to recognize the smallest of injustices done to us as a people. And then we complain when they do just a little bit. As you all know right now, critical race theory is the new hot topic in the country, with states not only banning critical race theory from being taught in schools, but also at the same time some are whitewashing history even more in the process, going so far as a North Carolina teacher informing her students that Martin Luther King Jr. was not assassinated, but in fact killed himself. This is the type of teaching we are currently combating, and being upset that the government is recognizing the Black Independence Day in this country seems like an oxymoron in the fight for equality. Angry for actually getting one of the things you asked for. This is why all you Black folks upset and complaining about Juneteenth being recognized as a federal holiday are my oxymorons of the day. Congratulations, dumbasses. I'm still celebrating, and I'm happy that it's a federal holiday. In other news, Deshaun Watson earlier this year was accused and is now fighting 22 lawsuits for inappropriate conduct while getting massages. The actual allegations all state that the women became uncomfortable at his request to massage his upper inner thighs and his buttocks area. This is not uncommon for some athletes, especially quarterbacks, to request being done. But this request is also not mandated for a masseuse to perform. Several masseuses stated they were uncomfortable with the request, and Deshaun simply replied, "Okay, massage over," paid them, told them they can leave. There was one that stated Deshaun forced sexual contact during a massage, but has since dropped out of the lawsuit when messages were revealed that proved the encounter was consensual and happened on multiple occasions. Deshaun, however, is still now being labeled as a rapist because his massage requests made women uncomfortable. Although no forced acts or contact were even accused by the women, just being uncomfortable is a problem. This is a dangerous slope we're allowing. A man's career, reputation, and his life are at stake because someone felt uncomfortable. Now granted, these are still just lawsuits, no criminal charges. But hey, I feel uncomfortable when the police are behind me. Can I sue the LA sheriffs? Wonder how that'll go over. He'd be in court like, "No, Your Honor, they did not pull me over. No, Your Honor, they didn't pull me out and beat me. No, Your Honor, I'm not a hashtag for being shot. No, Your Honor, they didn't even follow me home. But they did get behind me, then pulled to the side of me, and one of them smiled at me as they passed and kept going. That made me super uncomfortable, and I'm emotionally damaged, and I demand $1 million. I'd be laughed out of the court. And I understand the hesitation to dismiss a woman's claims of sexual assault. But this is not sexual assault. This is women saying that they were uncomfortable. he made them uncomfortable, so they won $1 million each. Funny how this all came up as soon as Deshaun Watson decided to leave the Houston Texans and request a trade. The lawyer representing these women are the neighbor of the Houston Texans owner. Let you think about that. Meanwhile, Big Ben Roethlisberger will be returning as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback for the 11th year after being beaten by security guards when they caught him in the act of actually sexually assaulting a woman in a nightclub. Big Ben was never charged. The videotape that did exist got deleted accidentally. Well, congrats, Ben, on a new contract, and no one giving a shit that you actually got caught raping a woman. Good luck, Deshaun, for making women uncomfortable. Hope it works out, buddy. Moving along. In COVID news, the COVID shot, which is considered by some to be a vaccine, has opened the doors for the nation to lift mask mandates and open their states freely. Currently, 48 of the 52 states have completely reopened with no mask mandates. Michigan is set to fully reopen and lift the mask mandate in July, while states like Hawaii, Oregon, and New Mexico have met all the criteria but has yet to release a reopen date officially. This brings into question the validity and comfort of removing masks along with the social distancing guidelines all at the same time. While little is still known about the labeled vaccine for COVID, we do know that it does not prevent the illness or the spread of the illness. With the death rate at roughly 1.8% for all who contracted the virus initially without a vaccine, 597,965 Americans lost their lives out of over 33 million cases. Now we have a death rate at roughly 1.8% of vaccinated people who've contracted the COVID virus since being vaccinated. We can't make this a true calculated risk or even protection when the death rate remains the same percentile. And although we have a smaller sampler size in the death rate, the average percentile markers remain the same so far. This goes to the same token of with or without the inoculations, you still carry a 1.8% chance of dying if you get COVID. Also, since April 2021, there have been increased reports to the vaccine adverse event reporting systems of cases of inflammation of the heart called myocarditis and pericarditis happening after the mRNA COVID-19 vaccinations from both Moderna and Pfizer shots. For all the anti-vaxxers, pro-vaxxers, and people who are undecided, do your own research, make your own decisions, and allow everyone else to make their own as well. But for whatever you decide, if you see me in public, don't break my social distancing barrier. If you're not wearing a mask, please don't approach me too close, or I will Charlie Murphy kick the shit out of you in the chest to back you the fuck up. Please don't be my next oxymoron of the week. Thank you very much. In more political news, our favorite Crazy Joe, President Biden, raised eyebrows with an odd misstep during his press conference following a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, in which he appeared to mistakenly use the name of his own predecessor when discussing the Russian leader. He clearly called Putin President Trump. There's no mistake about that. This brings into question how we elect and use criteria for our U.S. presidents. I do believe we may need to face the fact that electing a senior citizen to lead the country may not be the greatest of ideas with the rise in dementia. Meanwhile, Florida continues to show you why you shouldn't live there too long. A man who's standing trial for murder of his own infant and wife decided to defend himself in court today. Here's his opening statement.
Enough! So we had to tamper with evidence. Since it was such evident already, but we still had to tamper with evidence.
no idea what happened, or even what he's attempting to explain. But dude, the evidence is evident of the evidence in this case that if you're going to defend yourself on a double homicide, get a fucking haircut and stop shouting. Stop shouting. You sound angry. This does not help your case, big guy. The suit isn't enough. That hairstyle says guilty. While at the same time, the Supreme Court sides with the Catholic Church on refusing to work with LGBT couples on adoptions under the Free Exercise Clause in the First Amendment. Because we all know that the Catholic Church values protecting children above all else. Yeah. Well, and that's this week's edition of Toe the Line. Thank you for joining us. See you guys next time.